going to take a look at how to multiply fractions. Multiplying fractions is very straightforward, and it's just really about remembering what you're doing whenever you come to multiplying fractions. So the first one here we've got is 3/5 multiplied by 2/7. So all you do is multiply across the top. 3 times by 2 is 6, so your new number at the top is 6. And then you multiply across the bottom. 5 times by 7 is 35. Now, you need to look at your answer then and decide if you can simplify. If you can simplify, then you need to simplify. So looking at 35 and 6, there's nothing that both of those will divide by. So that is it. I can't simplify it. That is my answer, 6/35. So if you want to go now, you can try the next one. Just remember, multiply across the top. The top two numbers need multiplied together. Multiply across the bottom, so your bottom two numbers need multiplied together, and that is your answer. And simplify then if you can. So if you want to pause the video now and try this next one, 2/9 times by 3/5, go ahead and do that, and then I will work through it in a couple of seconds. Okay, so multiply across the top. 2 times by 3 is 6, and my top number again is 6. Multiply across the bottom. 9 times by 5 is 45. Okay, so is there anything then that divides into 6 and 45? Well, they would both divide by 3. So we're going to simplify this down by dividing by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 45 divided by 3 is 15. So your final answer would be 2/15. Okay, we're going to take a look at a slightly different, same principle applies, but these questions are slightly different because you have a whole number and a fraction. So the first thing you need to do is change this whole number into a fraction. So you've got two fractions. So 12 is the same as 12/1. Because 12 divided by 1 is simply 12. So we can write it out like that. 12/1 times by 3/5. Again, multiply across the top. So 12 times by 3 is 36. 5 times by 1 is 5. Now that's a top-heavy fraction. So we need to think to ourselves, well, think about this as a dividing line. So 36 divided by 5. Well, how many times does 5 go into 36? Well, 5 sevens is 35, so that means you've got 7 wholes. And then the difference between 35 and 36 is 1. So there's 1/5 left over. So your answer is actually 7 and 1/5. So again, pause the video, try the second example, the same kind of question. And then once you've tried it, you can unpause the video and I'll work through it with you. So we'll take this 13 and we're going to change it to a top-heavy fraction. So 13/1 multiplied by 2/3. Multiply across the top. 13 times by 2 is 26. 3 times by 1 multiply across the bottom is 3. Top-heavy fraction here, so we need to think to ourselves, how many times does 3 go into 26? Well, 3 times by 8 is 24. There'd be 2 left over, so it's 2/3. 8 and 2/3 would be your answer. Alright, so this time we've got mixed numbers. We've got a whole number and a fraction. Now we need to change this all into a fraction, so we're going to change it into a top-heavy fraction. So to do that, we would multiply our 3 by our 5, which is 15. And then we add on the 4, so that would be 19/5. Same here, multiply your 2 by your 3, which is 6. Add in the 1, which is 7, so that would be 7/3. And then we just need to multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom like we have done in our other videos. So the first thing we have to do there is 19 times by 7. 19 times by 7 is 133 over, and 5 times by 3 is 15. Now we need to see if we can simplify that by anything. 133 doesn't divide by 3, it doesn't divide by 5, so there's nothing that's going to go into that. So it is just going to be 133/15. Right, you can pause the video and have a wee try at the second one here. Or you can work through it with us as we go along. So 5 times by 4 is 20 plus the 1. So 20 plus 1 is 21/4. So we've changed that into a top-heavy fraction. Times by 2 times by 3 is 6 plus the 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. So that's 8/3. So multiply across the top. 21 times by 8 is 168. And 4 times by 3 is 12. Okay, so we need to think about, can we simplify this down? So first of all, yes, they would both divide by 2. So that would give us 6 on the bottom, and 168 divided by 2 is 84. We can divide by 2 again. So 84, we'll start down here. 84 divided by 2 is 42 over 3. And then 42, we can divide both of those by, we can divide 42 simply divides by 3. And 42 divided by 3 would actually go in 14. So that would be 14 over 1, which is the same as 14. So that there is 14 whole. It's no longer a fraction. Right, we've got a few examples for you here. So the first one is 3 over 4 times by 1 over 5. So you can pause the video and work through this yourself, and then I'll work through it with you in a moment. Alright, for this one then, we again just multiply across the top. So 3 times by 1 and 4 times by 5. So 3 ones is 3, 4 times by 5 is 20. 3 over 20, nothing divides into 3 and 20, so that is your answer, 3 over 20. Okay, another exam question again. If you want to pause the video and try this yourself first, you can. So we're in 2/3 times by 3/4. Multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. So 2 times by 3 is 6, 3 times by 4 is 12, and that both divides by 6, so 6 into 6 goes once, 6 into 12 goes twice, so your simplified version is a half, 1 over 2. Okay, now I've got one where we have a whole number, so if you can try and remember the steps, if not, go back through the video and work through that second examples that we did. You need to make your whole number into a top heavy fraction first, and then multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. Okay, so taking our 60, we're going to make that 60 over 1, because 60 divided by 1 is just 60, times by 2 over 3. So 60 times by 2, multiplying across the top, is 120. And then 1 times by 3 is 3. Now, we need to simplify this, and 120 divided by 3, if we divide both those by 3, 3 into 12 goes 4 times, so that will be 3 into 120 will go 40 times, over 3 into 3 goes once. So 40 over 1 is just simply 40. So your answer for that one will be 40. And our last example here, we've got two mixed numbers which we are multiplying together. So we need to turn these both into top heavy fractions before we multiply them together. So for this one, we're going to do 3 times by 4, which is 12, and then we're going to add on that 3 onto the 12, which makes that 15 over 4, times by. Then 2 times by 3 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 6, 7, 8. So that's 8 over 3. And then we just multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom. So 15 times by 8 is 120. And 4 times by 3 is 12. Okay, so we're going to divide these both by 12. So 120 divided by 12 is 10. And 12 divided by 12 is 1, so this is 10 over 1, which is 10 wholes. The answer is 10. Hope you find this helpful. I'm going to put up a video as well on dividing fractions, so you might want to work through that as well. There should be a video up here on multiplying, and adding and subtracting fractions. You may find that useful if you're revising over fractions at the moment.